much to do in one location, make Megamart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills. Fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Megamart, the best value by far.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Well, we've got a piece of news to bring to your attention. It's been making the rounds, especially on social media today, and I suppose it has been out there even before today, and it concerns the Jamaica team that has been selected to go to the Olympic Games. That's a track and field team that was selected and released on Sunday. And indications are there's at least one, could be more, but at the moment we're sure that one athlete might be affected in that they were selected to the 66 member squad and may not get a chance to perform at the Olympic Games. And when we got the news today, we were searching to find out who that athlete was because it didn't name the athlete. And just to see, we suspected who it was, and just about 20 minutes before coming to air, in fact, possibly even less, in the last 10 or so minutes before coming to air, we got something from an athlete, and let me just read it to you as we just got it. Thank you to all who have reached out with support over the last 48 hours. I wish to address publicly the rumors of my current status with the Jamaica Olympic track and field team. Following the Jamaican Olympic trials, the championship that is, I was elated, to receive notification of my official selection to Team Jamaica. Unfortunately, I have since found myself in a difficult position. Now, due to an omission made by the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association J3As, my name was not officially submitted to World Athletics as such. I do not have a position in the Olympic Games. I have been assured that all possible remedies are being explored and that there is hope that this issue may soon be resolved. I thank those who are fighting on my behalf for my rightful inclusion. I'm a proud Jamaican. To wear our nation's colors at the Olympic Games will be the pinnacle of my athletics career. I pray for a swift and positive resolution, and until such time as one comes, will not have any further comment. Now, that was written by Nayoka Clunis, and she's a hammer thrower. She was second at the Nationals, and her throw of 66 meters 63, it meets the Olympic B qualifying, which is the minimum standard of 63 meters on the nose. Now, she did 66 meters 63, so she achieved the B standard. The A standard is 70 meters flat, so she didn't achieve the A standard, but the B standard is okay. Now, you might wonder what she's talking about when she said the long list. Now, the long list is insisted on by the IOC in order to sort of make proper administrative planning for teams and individuals competing in the Olympic Games. The federations responsible for each sport should provide a list including certain data for all the possible persons who could make the teams. And the IOC insists on this because most countries have their national championships run about the same time, and then at the end of it to suddenly flood the IOC with contingents of 60, some countries 80, 90, and for them to start at that point to look at the details in their bio to put it on their accreditation. What they did was to ask them to put together a list that will include possibly 90 people who they are sure will make the team, so they could start the work ahead. And as soon as the final list is submitted by the federations, then the IOC would now just pick the information out because they'd already put it aside and stamp it on the accreditation to make the process smoother. And apparently Nayoka Clunis's name wasn't on it. The person who won it at the national championship is Erica Belvit. She did 68 meters at 28, yeah? So she didn't get the qualifying standard as well, but the national record holder did 71 meters. So, yeah, the situation is a bit unfortunate, and we're hoping that the JOA or the J3As can resolve it, because it really looks messy at the moment. And so finally, Nayuka Clunis has come out to say she's the one who's been affected, and we'll be monitoring that for you, right? Jamaica will open the defence of the West Indies under 19 cricket title tomorrow when they face the Windward Islands at Arnos Vale in St. Vincent in one of 3 opening round games, and it's set to start at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning Jamaica time. The Leeward Islands versus Guyana at Park Hill, and Barbados versus Trinidad and Tobago at Sion Hill are the other scheduled games in the opening round. The Cricket West Indies Rising Stars tournament was scheduled to start on July 2 but was postponed due to the passage of Hurricane Beryl. St. Vincent and the Grenadines were among the countries affected, which necessitated a delay and a subsequent alteration in the tournament format. Now, the updated format will feature 4 rounds of 2 matches and 5 rounds of 50-over matches. Now, the modifications, despite that, the tournament will still conclude on July 31 as initially planned, ensuring teams have a balance of match time to develop their skills and adequate time for recovery between. The 50-over tournament, of which Jamaica is also defending title holders, will begin on July 23. Fast bowler Gus Atkinson produced the second-best bowling figures by an Englishman on Test debut as a host, ripped through the West Indies batting on day 1 of the first cricket test at Lord's. Atkinson, who plays county cricket for Surrey, bagged a 7 for 45, including 3 wickets in 4 balls, as the Caribbean team was rolled over for 121. They were 88 for 3 at one stage. Only Dominic Cork's 7 for 43 against, guess who? The West Indies in 1995 betters that of Atkinson. Another debutant was the top scorer for West Indies, Mikhail Louis. He made 27, Alec Athanaze 23, and Kavem Hodge 24. In reply, the England team reached 189 for 3. They lead by 68 at close, with Joe Root 15 and Harry Brook 25 to resume the battle tomorrow. Zach Crowley led the way on the day with 76. Ben Duckett made 3, and Ollie Pope 57. Jaden Seals ended the day with a 2 for 31, and the assistant coach of the West Indies team, James Adams, says several factors contributed to the team's poor showing on day 1.
I think there were fairly bowling-friendly conditions prior to and just after lunch, and added to that, I think England really exploited the conditions really well. They were consistent. They got the ball to swing. They didn't give us many freebies, and maybe a little bit of inexperience on our part as well. So I think a combination of those issues. The England attack, I think they have all of their bowling attack are world-class bowlers. We haven't seen Gus bowl, but he's done pretty well in county cricket this season so far. And he really put up a good show, held his hand up and had a pretty much a dream debut, I think.
Yeah, that's James Adams, and he's, of course, the assistant coach of the West Indies team. It will be Spain against England for the Euro 2024 title. They meet in the final on Sunday in the German capital, Berlin. England punched their ticket to the final on Sunday after coming from behind to beat the Netherlands by 2-1 in a pulsating semi-final in Dortmund today. Javi Simon shot the orange ahead. They call him the orange. And that's after 7 minutes. But Harry Kane equalized from the spot for England before Ollie Watkins broke Dutch hearts in the 90+1 minute.
Simons there, opens up for a man, the shot, and a brilliant goal for the Netherlands. Sammy Simons, a stunning blow by the men in orange. And Kane delivers again in Dortmund, 1-1. Ollie Watkins here. Oh, how about that? How about that? Ollie Watkins wins it for England, surely.
And this marks the first time England was reaching the final of a major senior football championship on foreign soil, and the first time they're reaching back-to-back Euro finals. They lost on penalties to Italy in the final at the last tournament at Wembley in London. Meanwhile, UK police said 5 people suffered minor injuries after England fans were attacked by the Netherlands supporters in Dortmund before the semi-finals. Police said a group of the Netherlands fans attacked England fans in bars and attempted to steal their flags. They said that the majority of the Netherlands fans were there to, quote, enjoy the game, but there were some groups of supporters deemed, quote, a risk. Former head coach of the Jamaica national senior men's football team, Hamer Halgrimson, was announced as the manager of the Republic of Ireland football team today. Halgrimson replaces Stephen Kenny, whose contract was not renewed after the country failed to qualify for the Euros. The 57-year-old ended his relationship with the Jamaica Football Federation and the Reggae Boys following the poor showing at the Copa America tournament. The boys went down 1-0 against Mexico. They lost a 3-1 to Ecuador and a 3-0 against Venezuela. Halgrimson's stint as head coach of the Reggae Boys run from September 16, 2022 to June 30, 2024. He still had 2 years to run on that contract, you know. As head coach, Halgrimson led the national team in 27 games. His record, 11 wins, 6 draws, and 10 defeats. Jamaica's under-21 netball team beat Canada 65-16 as they secured their second straight win at the America's Netball World Youth Qualifiers in Guadeloupe. The Young Sunshine Girls are seeking one of 3 qualifying spots to the Netball World Youth Championships in Gibraltar next summer. They opened their campaign with a 71-9 whipping of the Cayman Islands. Finally, in sports, Lorenzo Musetti called it a magic day as he beat Taylor Fritz in 5 sets to secure a semi-final at Wimbledon against the 7-time champion Novak Djokovic. Musetti fought back from a set and a break of serve down to beat the American number 13 seed Fritz 3-6, 7-6, 6-2, 3-6, 6-1 in a thrilling quarterfinal. Djokovic had earlier moved into the quarter in the final 4 without having to take to the court after a scheduled opponent, Alex de Minaur, the Australian 9th seed, withdrew because of a hip injury. And we close with the nationwide Olympic fact. It's sponsored by Rainforest Caribbean.
This is Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Rainforest Caribbean. Make delicious moments.
Did you know that Andrew Phillips was the first Jamaican swimmer to reach an Olympic final? Yes, that's a fact. Phillips created history for the island when he made the Olympic final on August 4 at the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. Competing in the 200 meters individual medley, he finished a historic 6th in a time of 2 minutes 05.61 seconds. That record lasted for over 30 years. He is still the first Jamaican swimmer to have made an Olympic final.
That was Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Rainforest Caribbean. Make delicious moments.
Folks, we've got 16 days to go to the Olympic Games. It's 12:21 in Paris. So the Olympic opening ceremony would have just ended on July 26th around this time, yeah? And so we're setting sail for 18 fantastic days of action from 41 sport coming out of the French capital. And of course, there are matches in football that will be played on the outskirts at places like Bordeaux or in Marseille and so on. So yeah, make it a nationwide summer. We're the official and exclusive radio broadcasters of the Olympic Games here in Jamaica. It's a prime drive time event. The main events are going to be around about 1, 2, 3 in the PM, but of course there are going to be events in the morning as well. So we've got Paris in the morning, Paris in the afternoon, and Paris in the evening. So we've broken down our schedule in that sort of format so we can capture everything for you. So if you miss something in the morning, you're going to catch it in the afternoon, and likewise if you do so in the afternoon, you can catch it in the evening. And we're preparing a massive show for you. So just stick and stay with your Olympic station. We've got 16 days to go. All right, get home, please. Uruguay playing Colombia in a big Copa America semifinal tonight. It starts at 7. Should be gripping stuff. That's sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:23.
For hard-to-get medications, over-the-counter and chemotherapy drugs, visit Dean's Pharmacy Pepin. When others don't have it, we do. Dean's Pharmacy. Feeling better starts right here.
The temperature by Dean's Pharmacy, feeling better, starts right here is
32 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 31 in the western city, Montego Bay.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school? And now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so one less sugary drink at my school may mean one friend less,
or 2 or 3,
at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar and sodium, it may reduce our risk from obesity, heart disease and high blood pressure.
The solution is simple, right? Act now.
Let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Feeling stuck in endless paperwork to secure a small business loan from a bank? Access Financial Services can unlock your growth with an SME loan. Borrow up to $20 million with easy requirements and fast approvals. Whether you are ready to boost productive capacity, get working capital, or acquire real estate, say goodbye to the hassle and hello to growth. Grow your business with an SME loan up to $20 million from Access Financial Services. Call 876-929-9253 or visit accessfinanceonline.com. Conditions apply.
Jamaica, it's here again. Fosridge Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. Come get your wires, breakers, solar flood lamps, LED bulbs, ceiling fans, and so much more. Call 876-937-5099 or visit us in Kingston, Mandeville, Draxall, and Montego Bay. Up to 60% off the summer. Get your solar panels starting from $17,600. Come shop, come save at Fosridge Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. See you there at Fosridge. Open Sundays.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams. It's midweek, Wednesday. A special one to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. You know we like to hear from you, so as always, we ask you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. It's one that's much talk about, much talk. The Integrity Commission has clarified information contained in its annual report for 2023-24, which only made reference to 2 parliamentarians being under investigation for illicit enrichment for the period. Now, the IC says the 2 is in addition to the 6 that was previously reported for the 2022-23 period. Now, this brings to 8 the total number of parliamentarians referred over allegations of illicit enrichment between April 2022 and March 2024. Now, the clarification came after stories were published by our news team and the Jamaica Gleaner saying the so-called illicit 6 was now the illicit 2. The opposition People's National Party has repeatedly criticized the Holness administration over the illicit 6, saying all 6 parliamentarians belong to the governing Jamaica Labour Party. Well, the status of the probe into the now illicit 8 remain unclear. The Integrity Commission maintains that it's not legally empowered to say whether the cases are ongoing or have been closed. So in Public Opinion this evening, we're gauging your reaction to news that at least 8 parliamentarians are being probed for illicit enrichment. So we go to our social media platforms. We start on Facebook. Anthony Shakes is saying it's hard to believe anything coming out of the office of the IC. They've lost all credibility. Fresh leadership is needed. Christopher Isaac says, as the saying goes, be careful what you wish for. I am certain that this was not what was expected. It has become like an aggressively spreading cancer, casting aspersions on everyone. That's not them. Okay. Let me see if I can get more. CJ says the Integrity Commission is biased against the JLP. All right. Let me see. Natalie Winter is questioning what's new. What's new? Michelle Bernard, is there such a thing or is it the PNP's friends in office? Okay. Philip Jackson says the Integrity Commission has injured themselves. They are behaving like seesaw, up and down. It's unfortunate you have to take what they say with a grain of salt, if not a complete bag. Philip Jackson, they're always giving us some interesting comments. We welcome them. If you're just joining us, we're inside the Court of Public Opinion. We're asking your reaction to news that at least 8 parliamentarians are being probed for illicit enrichment. On X, Graham Jervis is saying, based on what I'm hearing now, one can report to the IC that so-and-so just bought a bimmer without any proof, cause my bad mind, and he would be tagged as being investigated for illicit enrichment. Okay. Mark Rodney is saying to us that even in our courts, matters have been brought forward based on high public interest. The IC, with billions in taxpayer money, can simply take its time and watch the political mudfest. They are incompetent and should resign. These are the comments coming from our social media platform. On Instagram, Weavon is saying, my question is, which organization is holding the IC accountable? They too should be investigated for enrichment. All right. Wow. Some interesting comments here on our public opinion. Your reaction to news that at least 8 parliamentarians are being probed for illicit enrichment. Taking the conversation now over to our YouTube platform. Betsy Powell says, IC Figoe, clarifying too often. Okay. Let me see if I can get some more into this. Hi, Rebecca. Good evening to you. It's nice to be back. It's nice to be back. Let me see if I can get some more. Betsy Powell is saying, I see have the country in turmoil. Okay. Donovan Walker is saying, now the JLP can campaign on the illicit 8 since the illicit 6 already taken by the PNP. Wow. Let me see. Morris McCarthy is saying they can say 2 more added, but can't say if any of the previous 6 cases are closed or ongoing, and Morris is laughing. Joel Levy says, after hearing from the Lack of Integrity Commission, I am more confused. Any mischief making can report their political enemy to the IC. As a result, you will be investigated for illicit enrichment. KMT. James says, remember last year when the IC recommended the PM should be charged and had to backflip the following day, almost breaking their necks? South Coast is saying the illicit IC. Philip Jackson, blessings. Blessings to you too. Okay. Let me see if hi Leroy Rotti, how you do? Blessings to you. Let me see if I can get in more. Rebecca says, if they were in any other profession, performing any other job, they would have been fired for incompetence. All right. Some serious news coming out of the report. I mean, we've seen several things happening. Morris McCarthy says biased, that the IC is biased. And to each his own opinion, we welcome them. The question we're asking, at least 8 parliamentarians being probed for illicit enrichment by the Integrity Commission. What's your reaction to that? Let me see if I can get some more. Cheryl Hamilton, good afternoon to you too. Steve Nugent believes that it is all politics. It's all politics that's happening here. Oh boy, we say it's a political football, Steve Nugent. Well, it's one for us to all see. We hope that, things can progress smoothly. The IC says they're maintaining that it's not legally empowered to say whether the cases are ongoing or have been closed. So I think it's like we're in limbo, waiting to see what will happen, Donna Wilson believes that the IC can't be trusted, and she says it's time for them to go. Oops is also of the same view, saying the IC is a total waste. Kirk Buchanan, blessings, good evening to you. Betsy Powell says 1 year now they're talking about 6 and nothing, and now they add 2. That will go over a next 2 years. It's interesting to see how all of this plays out because, like I said before, the IC is maintaining that, they are not legally empowered to say to us whether the cases are ongoing or have been closed. So it's interesting times ahead. We had the illicit 6 now. 2 more have been added to that. Interesting times ahead. Thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion, but that's all the time we have. Do stay tuned for the Business Report up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:33.
Don't let poor vision hold your children back. IQ Optical gives complimentary standard reflection-free lenses to children and teachers until May 31. Conditions apply.
The temperature by IQ Optical is
32 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 31 out west in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Motorists will pay more for gas when they go to the pumps. Tomorrow, that's Thursday, the state-owned oil refinery Petrojam says E1087 is to move up by $1.95 per litre, and a litre of E1090 will go up by $1.97. Automotive diesel oil will move up by $1.35 per litre. Ultra low sulfur diesel will increase by $1.45 per litre. The price of kerosene will go up by $2.38 per litre. To other news now, the Bank of Jamaica BOJ has announced that it has suspended the primary agent remittance licenses issued to Paymaster Jamaica Limited. In an advisory, the BOJ says the suspension took effect July 5, 2024. It says Paymaster will not be able to operate as a primary agent from 19 locations across the island until further notice. The company can, however, continue to operate as a sub-agent of 6 other primary agents and will offer those services at 47 other locations. Now, for the locations that operations have been suspended across the island for Paymaster, you can go on our website to see that list, and also the list of those locations that are still in operation. Further afield, CNN is eliminating approximately 100 jobs and plans to debut its first digital subscriptions before the end of the year as the news network leans into reshaping its business. In a memo sent to staff on Wednesday, CNN CEO Mark Thompson noted the news organization was cutting just 100 jobs out of a total workforce of approximately 3,500. He said that open roles were closed wherever possible in order to minimize the total layoffs. Media organizations, including CNN, have struggled to grow audiences and revenue and have sought to diversify what they offer to customers. Thompson says CNN will create subscription-ready products that offer news, analysis, and context in new formats. He emphasized that there will be an effort to keep users on CNN.com's website longer and find ways to get them to return more often. While CNN's digital products have primarily focused on text articles, Thompson said there will be a shift to provide more video content. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 157 Jamaican dollars and 46 cents to buy $1 US, 201 Jamaican dollars and 91 cents to buy $1 British pound, and 114 Jamaican dollars and 72 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. Well, that's the business report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
Guard against mosquito-borne diseases. Following the passage of Hurricane Beryl, members of the public are reminded to be vigilant in order to prevent mosquito-borne diseases such as dengue. Here are some tips to help you. Search around the home for places where water may have settled and clear them. Use insect repellent containing DEET. Use mosquito nets. Use mosquito destroyer. Put screens on windows and doors. Avoid places with standing water or garbage piles. For further information, please contact the Health Emergency Operations Center at 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683.
Watch for Shelley Fraser.
I stay locked to the Olympics because, of course, I'm Jamaican. What you mean? Me, I have to tune into the Olympics, man. Because I'm always busy, but what? I have to know when Sherika Jackson beat Shakari.
Brother, I have to have every notification for the Olympics. I want to hear every run.
Now Sherika Jackson coming
every jump.
Oh, that is absolutely huge of Wade Pinkham.
Every fling, live.
So, take us then.
Nothing can miss me.
We're always on the move.
So while we're driving, run, Elaine, run.
Jogging. Yes. Run, Watson, win again.
Watson is now a world champion.
Or even at work.
Quick, the race has started.
We can't miss a beat because we keep it locked
to the only station
for the Paris Olympics.
Nationwide.
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 90 FM.
Nationwide 90.1, 90.3, 90.5, 90.7 and 90.9, and on YouTube at Nationwide 90 FM Live. Nationwide, the new revolution in media.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis, weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
The Oasis is brought to you by Solar Tech Jamaica. We use the gift of the sun to power our world.
Chewy flavor with delight. It's really, really nice. May I say it twice?
The time by Jamaica Mountain Peak Golden Turmeric Latte is...
It's 6:41.
Nation's Business is brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
Good evening, good evening. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the Nation's Business. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
I'm Franklin McKnight.
All right, so we're turning our attention now to Beryl's impact on the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association. The association says last week's passage of the hurricane inflicted significant damage on its members. The JMEA says agro-processors have been primarily affected. In a statement on Tuesday, the association says preliminary reports indicate that the situation is dire and recovery will be challenging, especially for those operating on the southwestern end of the island.
It says Monmouth Rums has reported damage to their Clarendon location, and Jeria Navy Limited have encountered issues at their Clarendon and St. Elizabeth locations. The JMEA's Executive Director, Kamisha Blake, says Beryl affected some of their members locally and internationally.
She says Rainforest Caribbean has reported severe impacts across all 5 countries where they operate, including imminent threats to locations like Belize. Mrs. Blake is calling on the Bank of Jamaica BOJ to carefully consider the economic impact of the hurricane and the subsequent rise in inflation. She says it's crucial to avoid further tightening the policy interest rate.
She says the JMEA is asking the central bank to prioritize policies that support recovery and economic stability to ensure a swifter and more robust recovery for all Jamaicans. The JMEA's president, Sidney Thwaites, joins us now to discuss further.
Good evening, Ms. Thwaites.
Evening, gents.
Oh,
good evening.
Mr. Thwaites, I beg your pardon.
Yes.
Good evening. All right, so first of all, tell us some more about the damage suffered by your members.
I would say overall, a lot of us count ourselves extremely lucky that damage wasn't worse. I think a lot of our larger members will recover very quickly or have recovered very quickly, and it's mostly because some of them are resilient to the loss of energy and are not reliant on the 100% on the grid. So I was on a call the day after the hurricane with Minister Hill and a number of the larger manufacturers, and really we saw that most of the larger companies involved in the food supply were in relatively good shape. That was kind of before we understood what the significant impact on agriculture was, but inventories were good, and the ability to get the products out and manufacture additional goods was very positive. So I think as far as whether we're going to see things on the shelves, I think we're in pretty good shape. I've been on other calls related to agriculture, and I'm not yet sure, and I don't think any of us are that sure, how that long term is going to impact the companies who are using that as a supply into their manufacturers' goods. So that's a bit of an unknown still.
Is there any estimate of the damage suffered by the JME members, the sector in general, sir? And what is the main issue? What's the main issue? The storm itself, or the hurricane itself? I'm sorry, or its aftermath?
No, we don't have any estimates yet on what the cost is to our members. I've heard some numbers out there on the damage to infrastructure and those types of things, but not specifically to our members. Most of the members that reported challenges, the majority of them were loss of electricity. Telecommunications were down, the cell towers were down in some locations significantly for a good period of time. The issues with transportation and allowing the staff to get to work was also a challenge in the week after the hurricane. Impassable roads were also an issue in a lot of communities. So we did hear a lot of our manufacturers and distributors had to prioritize their goods going out to customers who could actually receive them. So what that told us was that there was quite a bit of infrastructure that was impassable and quite a bit of their customer base that was impacted and not able to receive goods. So, So those were the primary impacts.
Right. We've been talking specifically also about Money Musk and Jerry and Nephew here and how it'll affect their operations. What more can you tell us?
I don't know the details. I know they had impact at specific locations. I am not up to date on specifically what their time to recover is or what the extent of the damage. We were notified about what the damage was.
Mm-hmm. You seem to suggest that the agro-processing sector might be significantly affected. Can you give us a sense of what that might mean for the exports, or you're not there yet?
Well, it's really agro-processing that relies on local crops because what we've been told from the sector is that the loss has been significant, and that it's going to take, dependent on the crop, it's going to take quite a while to recover from this. So if we have agro-processors that don't have import options to their raw materials, and my assumption is that is going to be some of our smaller manufacturers who are more reliant on local crops only. So that's where my concern comes from. Just hearing through my colleagues on the agricultural side what the actual loss looks like.
Mm-hmm. And there's been a call for the Bank of Jamaica to carefully consider the economic impact of the hurricane and the subsequent rise in inflation. From where you stand, what are you predicting, or what do you fear, if anything?
Yeah, I don't have a crystal ball, but up until the hurricane, we had shown quite a few quarters of having our inflation in the acceptable band. We've seen reserves hold on foreign currency. We've seen the exchange rate consistent. So all of the things were there to indicate that it was time to ease the monetary policy. So my hope is that the hurricane does not change the view of the BOJ. It's really an issue that we've got to get through, and it's going to take capital to do that. If we're going to be more resilient to the next one, it's going to take capital. We've learned a lot through this experience. So my fear, as you ask, would be that the hurricane itself and the impact it will have on our economy, and we don't know exactly what that is yet, causes the BOJ to not do things that are really in the best interest of rebuilding our economy quickly.
In underground understanding of that, you are saying that the BOJ, or there was a sense already that the BOJ should be cutting interest rates.
No, BOJ didn't get that far, but the sense was they had started to lean into easing, that they were starting with measures that were not cutting the rate, but they had started the measures of easing.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, from the perspective of the Manufacturers and Exporters Association, are you taking any specific measures or specific steps to assist your members in the recovery effort?
Well, it's really individual. The community has really come together very well to help out all of those that we can help. We are looking at really joining hands with the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, the PSOJ, the JCC, the JMEA, and really to go to the companies who can help others, and really to do that as a group. So we're not kind of approaching it on a one-off basis and individually as an association. It's much more important to collaborate on the efforts that will get the maximum amount of relief and benefit to the companies that need them.
And
but you're not in a space. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr.
We're not in a space yet where you can determine whether there will be any effect on the export sector. So
no, I'm positive there will be an effect, but I just don't know what that effect is. I'll give you an example. So we know that after the hurricane left Jamaica, it hit Houston on Monday morning. That interrupted a lot of the vessel traffic and any raw materials loading out of the Gulf Coast of the U.S. On their way into our region. So we know we've got companies that are receiving raw materials late, and vessel traffic has been affected in the region. So I can say with certainty that we are going to see an impact. What that impact is going to be and how that's going to manifest in our export numbers and the production numbers, I'm not in a position to make that estimation.
Mm-hmm. And prior to the hurricane's passage, I wonder, how would you have assessed the strength of Jamaica's manufacturing sector?
There was and there is an optimism. I mean, I think that's evidenced by the investments that we have seen happening. We've got a lot of our members that were investing in expansion, in automation, in acquisition. So that really spoke to an optimism about where our economy and the sector specifically was. I think the concern that we had with the policy that was in place was that the gap between our larger manufacturers and our smaller and medium-sized manufacturers were growing, and really born out of a access to capital, a difference in access to capital. The capital markets have been tight, interest rates have been high and expensive. The larger manufacturers have more access at better prices than the others. So that was our specific concern prior to the hurricane, and so we're really our fear would be that gap continues to widen and widens more due to the hurricane. And we really need the support of BOJ. We really need the support of the private sector to address the impacts the best we can.
And on that point of optimism, is there any fear, any worry that optimism might be dampened because of the passage of the hurricane?
I don't think so. The basics are the same. We've reduced our debt to GDP. Employment numbers are good. We're seeing consistent growth in the economy and in the sector, albeit not the numbers we'd like to see. So I don't think the hurricane will change the outlook in general. But we know, and in saying that, I don't mean to downplay. I know we have some members and non-member companies out there who were hit harder than others and who are going to go through a really tough time.
Particularly the smaller ones that you were just concerned about.
Correct. So
right.
I don't mean to downplay that, but I don't want to give everybody the impression that the sector is in shambles. It's not the same as what we're seeing on the agriculture side. That is much more dire.
Yeah.
Mr. Thwaites, you mentioned that there's been some recent investment as one of the positive areas. What sector would you suggest, you personally as president, be suggesting to people might be an area that would be good for investment? We know what investments do, but what would you be saying to those looking on at Jamaica as a prospect?
Yeah, I think the opportunities in Jamaica are good. We tend to be our manufacturing is really a lot of it is based on food and beverage, and we see new entrants into that all the time, and we see some successful export stories around that sector. I would like to see a bit of diversity, so I'd like to see things. I'd like to see us not as dependent on food and beverage, although it's a great sector. So I think there are quite a few opportunities there. We've seen a couple of companies go onto the junior stock exchange. I think we're going to see more before the end of the year, and I think that also is a good investment opportunity.
Thank you.
All right, that was Sidney Thwaites, the president of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, talking to us about the impact of Beryl on the sector and really, looking ahead for what's to come. Thank you so much, Mr. Thwaites. Really appreciate it.
All right, gents. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take the break now, and then after the break, it's time for your calls. 630-937-124, 618-8255. Those are the numbers to call.
Nation's Business was brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
The mission of the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs includes revising Jamaica's legal and constitutional infrastructure and accelerating the pace of reform. The time by the MLCA is
7 o'clock.
Don't compromise on water storage. Choose Rhino water tanks, Jamaica's top pick for over 25 years. Built strong. Purchase a water harvester for an additional water supply. Rhino water tank, Jamaica's choice.
Jamaica, it's here again. Phosphorage Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. Come get your wires, breakers, solar flood lamps, LED bulbs, ceiling fans, and so much more. Call 876-937-5099 or visit us in Kingston, Mandeville, Draxall, and Montego Bay. Up to 60% off the summer. Get your solar panels starting from $17,600. Come shop, come save at Phosphorage Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. See you there at Phosphorage. Open Sundays.
Sweet Jamaica is now on the move. All roads lead to the Jamaica College Auditorium this Saturday, July 13, for the Jamaica Festival Song Results Show starting at 8:30 p.m. 10 finalists, 10 great songs, but there can only be one winner. The Jamaica Festival Song Results Show, Jamaica College Auditorium, Saturday, July 13, 8:30 p.m. Admission free. Festival nice again.
Jamaica, it's here again. Phosphorage Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. Come get your wires, breakers, solar flood lamps, LED bulbs, ceiling fans, and so much more. Call 876-937-5099 or visit us in Kingston, Mandeville, Draxall, and Montego Bay. Up to 60% off the summer. Get your solar panels starting from $17,600. Come shop, come save at Phosphorage Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. See you there at Phosphorage. Open Sundays.
Caribbean Airlines Reggae Sumfest and Appleton Estate presents Jamaica Rum Festival Blitz.
On Thursday, July 18th, Catherine Hall Stadium, Montego Bay. Gates open at 1 p.m. Enjoy rum seminar, rum tasting, and Beanie Man performing as Moses Davis. Music by Walshy Fire of Major Lazo, Bloodline Franco, Rush One Road Marshall, and DJ Ashai. Tickets are available at reggaesumfest.com.
Sponsored by Magnum, Ray and Nephew, Appleton Estate, Jamaica Tourist Board, H&L Rapid True Value.
Must be 18 years and older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Share in the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Fill your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We're taking your calls now. Just to remind you of the numbers, 630-9371-24, 618-8255. Martin, good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
I'm concerned about something. The Integrity Commission says that it is not their responsibility to indicate to us if any probe has been completed or ongoing about, quote-unquote, the illicit 6 or the illicit 8. Am I correct in that statement?
It says they're not empowered by law to provide the kind of update we're asking for, yes.
So, did they point to any section of the act or any act at all as to why they are not empowered to provide such information?
My understanding is that they are being guided by the so-called gag clause.
The so-called gag clause?
Yes.
Sorry if I cut you. Go ahead.
Yes, that's my understanding.
But the so-called gag clause says the commission, at its own accord, can bring any matter it deems appropriate to the Parliament in a report. Isn't that so?
It can table a special report, yes.
Yeah, on any matter it deems
important
or that is within its remit.
Yes.
So if they are the ones who indicate that Tom Jones may be or is under investigation for anything at all, shouldn't it be their responsibility to come back and say to me that Tom Jones has been cleared or Tom Jones is referred for whatever action it is?
That, my brother, is a reasonable expectation. And I think that's what most people are asking for. An update after a year of having told us you've launched an investigation.
And that is the difficulty I am having with the commission, because I support the commission in principle. But where the commission has been handling its business, not just on this matter, but other matters, leads me to question if they are really interpreting what they're supposed to be doing to the best interest of Jamaicans. And they keep on hiding behind, we are gagged. And I am no lawyer, but I don't see any gag on the commission. What I see is that the commission is not permitted to speak on matters that is under investigation.
But they have a very senior jurist, retired, leading the commission, and they have had the benefit as well of counsel and of interpretations of the legislation that govern them. In fact, they keep pointing out that they have made suggestions for the amendment of the legislation that would provide them with the wherewithal to do exactly what you are suggesting.
Oh man, something. The commission keeps making, even this morning when they had to release a statement to clarify that it's not 2, it is 8. Could that clarification or could that not be in the report?
Yeah.
Why is it that time after time the commission has to be sending out releases to explain that, this is incorrect, but this is correct?
I will say this. I will say this about what happened with the report yesterday. Clearly, the Jamaica Gleaner, nationwide news, interpreted it a particular way. Having seen the Integrity Commission's release this morning and being guided by that release, then you understand what they intended. The way it's structured, though, it was, and I put it no stronger than this, it was an odd way of structuring it. What they said in the release this morning, the report could have clarified in that way, because the absence of any reference to something that you announced last year, and as far as we know, you have not tabled any subsequent report indicating whether you cleared somebody, whether you found a basis on which to proceed. You've told us nothing in 12 months about that those 6 investigations you say that you had launched. So the reasonable person would conclude that nothing came of it, especially in light of the fact that the chairman was at pains to explain that sometimes they do get referrals that turn out to be without merit.
That is what I was going, because I read that statement to indicate that, so 4 of the referrals then turned out to be nothing there.
And I think, yes, I think that's what the reasonable people here and the reasonable people at the Gleaner, that's how we interpreted it. That being said, they said that's not the case, and they have since clarified, and we have reported as they have indicated.
But the last point I want to raise is that the commission live and operate in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. So they must hear some of the difficulties we have in understanding what they're saying.
Yes.
They don't have a communication system where you read this report out 3-4 times and just tidy up the language.
There is a, how do I put it? There seems to be a resistance to public clamor for a change in the way things are being done. And I don't know why that is, but that seems to be it. It seems to be a keep calm and carry on approach, regardless of how loud the public complaints are getting.
Part of the issue, I think, is because civil society groups, and I'm not saying they should criticize, it's not a matter of criticism, but they should come out too and say the Integrity Commission can tidy up their business in such and such a way. But in the absence of that, and when the politicians say, we love to blame politicians for everything, even when they are correct in a matter, we try to say, them just to try score points and whatever. So with the political voice alone in the wilderness, you're not going to get any better. But the commission needs to really tidy up its business, its reporting, so when they release something, we can just read it and it flows instead of you have to clarify upon. I find that to be a bit untidy after so many trial and error. And the quality of the leadership of the Integrity Commission. Having seen them in other dispensations. But
I want to be clear. I want to be clear that these are distinguished Jamaicans, who have contributed a great deal to the country.
Yes. And that is why I have this difficulty saying, having seen them in other dispensations.
Okay.
To see them in this with some, it's a trial and error business. I am surprised in that regard. And I think they just need to take a little time and tidy it up.
Yeah, and my concern is that because the commission is in its infancy, you want to get it right at the beginning because you sort of set the trend for how it will develop as an organization.
And it's not once, it's not twice. It's a series of things now that we need to, we need to fix. It's a good organization. It will benefit the country, but we have to get these things right as much as possible.
All right, my brother. Thanks for the call.
All right, sir.
And Ricardo, before you go to the next caller, you just mentioned the matter of it's being in its infancy.
Yes.
And I think that there are some people who suggest that these are
growing pains.
Growing pains,
yes.
That an institution like this.
Yes.
I mean, we have not really had anything like this. But there is also still a great sense of unease in the country.
Yes.
With regard to the Integrity Commission. There's no doubt about that. And I've sometimes asked myself, is that the matter of it's young, it's burdened by expectations, by the difficulties it faces, by the large specter of corruption in the country? Or is it just fooling, just not going in the way that Jamaicans really want to see a body that fights integrity? What's your view on that? Is it too much for us to ask that it be a little bit clearer and more open?
No, I don't think it's too much for us to ask, and I think it needs to appreciate, as I think the caller was saying just now, the environment within which it's operating, yes, and recognize how, especially past mistakes that it made, that it did not apologize for, how that may have now tainted perception of it. And I think it needs to, the commissioners in particular, need to make themselves more available to respond to the public concerns, to explain in a more detailed manner why they take the approaches they do, and why they think that's in the best interest of the continued existence of the organization. I don't think it's too much to ask. I have not heard anybody raise any concern or question that I think is unreasonable. The responses have not been forthcoming from the commission. They've really, in large part, just ignored the criticism.
And some people might say they are steadfast.
Indeed. I have my own theories as to why that is, but yeah. Indian, good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Excuse me for my listed tongue. I'm on the Integrity Commission case. I think, this is my opinion, I think the Integrity Commission, they should pack their bags, I think they're treating Jamaica with disdain. They doesn't want to talk to us as if we owe them any obligation. But in a sense, we're obligated to them to give us information. But how they're behaving like we are nothing. Whatever they say, keep it to themselves. And the public don't ask any question about it. You understand? I don't like the way they behave. And again, I think they stirred a political hustling for the opposition. They come across bias. When they come on to the government, they are very biased. I'm not going around a corner. They are very much biased. And I think they should pack, all of them, not one. All of them should pack and go. I think we should have different people making up that commission. And we should get civil society to get people from their side. We should get the opposition and the government to make up that commission so that we can have a balance. You understand?
You mean politicians? You mean politicians?
Yes. I think they should have politics, and I'm not talking about people who are MPs and all of those people.
But you know, my brother, you know that the commissioners, at least some of them, are appointed on the advice of the Prime Minister after consultation with the leader of the opposition, though. So they do benefit from some amount of how you say it now, political oversight or choice.
Okay.
Let me just double check that to make sure. But I do believe some of the commissioners are appointed on the advice of the Prime Minister after he consults with the leader of the opposition, and then the Governor General makes the appointment. So the political directorate, is my point, has a hand, if you will. Yes. So the Auditor General is a member, and then 4 other persons appointed by the Governor General by instrument in writing after consultation with the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition from any of the following categories: retired judges of the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court, or a senior retired public official with knowledge and expertise in finance, accounting, or public administration, or a person who represents non-government organization that appear to be well established. So the politicians do have a hand in who the commissioners are. And I don't know that we'd want to have the body be any more politicized than that, if you can call that being politicized.
Well, that's fair. Yes, fair. But what I think Andrew Oles is a very honest person, and the other side taking advantage of it. He doesn't. It's to me. He doesn't play partiality when it comes to PNP get involved in something and JLP get involved. I don't think he is so partial, and this is something that blinds his eyes when choosing people. He chooses people who to go against him. You understand me? And he doesn't realize it. I see some little thing that they're making mistake with. They should see it. You understand? They should see it. Because before I go that far, I wanted to ask, is this Greg Christie is a part of the institution?
He's the executive director.
Wow. Some trouble before this organization formed. And when they form it, they put him there. And I can see all of these things coming together and making a problem for the government. You understand? They should dissolve this committee.
No,
and get.
I don't think I'm there with you about dissolving it. No, it's an important body that should absolutely exist.
I shouldn't say dissolve the committee because yes, it's important. This institution is important for us to watch the government and other people in society. But I think I should have said they should remove these people from the committee and place other people. And you just don't take up people and just push them in a committee because you like them. But by their character...
These people are carefully selected.
Right. I don't know that they were appointed because they're liked.
Established.
These are distinguished people who have had careers in other fields. For example, the chairman is a retired president of the Court of Appeal. So I don't know that they were selected because they're liked.
That's why I am so... my mind wandered when a retired judge of the Court of Appeal is there and all of these mistakes have been made from when this 6 politician that they talk about, the Prime Minister that they try to push in a corner. I don't know what type of people are there when they have so many experience in doing Jamaican business on a whole, especially the judge, retired judge. I think he all person should never let these things come to such a it's a scandal, you know.
You know, I'm not even, sir, I'm not sure what exactly, I've been listening carefully, what exactly is the issue that concerns you, whether it is the individuals who are there on the commission. Why would you have an issue with the individuals? Because they are saying that they are working in a particular structure. And when you say they have expressed bias, specifically, what do you mean?
All right. You remember when Peter Bunting and this JLP guy was under scrutiny?
You mean regarding the gun licenses?
Yes. Mm-hmm. You know, when they quit them, they come out and call and say, we find nothing against Mr. Bunting.
But you must remember the sequence of events that led to that. Mr. Bunting had his attorneys write to the commission to clarify in what ways he thought he had been wronged. I don't know if Mr. Montague did the same. But we hear you. We have to give somebody else a chance. Faithful, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Knight. Good evening, Ricardo.
Good evening, Faithful.
Good evening, Mr. Knight. Good. I don't want to talk about the circus of integrity committee and all that. I don't deal with the circus. But something that bothers me. There's a popular phrase that we use when we want to identify our Africanness. I'm not Africa because I was born in Africa. I'm African because Africa was born in us. Signified our identity with Africa and how much we love our African, and we should be standing up for African. The part that I have a problem with that is I don't hear enough advocacy for the people in Sudan that are suffering so much. The most thing so-called us that call ourselves African we talk about is what Israel is doing to the Palestinians, which is very atrocious, evil, and all of that. But I don't even see this taking place in Sudan. Should they not have a voice speaking up at those persons in Sudan also?
So you brought this
because the profile of the two things, the two different things, the profile of the two things, even in the coverage, even in the coverage, and at the level of the United Nations, the profiles are different, and the Israeli-Hamas conflict and what's happening to people in Palestine has been heightened because of what is involved, the numbers involved in particular.
Yeah, Mr. Mandat, how many persons are dead in Sudan or the country called warrior and call it?
Well, guess what happened? I know that it is thousands. I don't know what the latest numbers are.
No, but
hold on a second. But the numbers relative to the population and relative to the what is happening in Gaza, they don't compare.
Mr. Manda, to me, it is more of an ideology than not born out in reality. In the sense that thousands and thousands of people have died in Sudan, and I guarantee you the weapon that they are using in Sudan, is not from Africa, it's outside of Africa.
You've brought this issue before here, Faithful, and we did discuss it. And we talked about hegemony, and we talked about the powers, and we talked about how friends align and how powerful interests align. And we agreed with you that it is not right, but unfortunately, that is the way of the international order.
Yeah,
do you remember that conversation? We have this conversation before,
Yes, because what you talk about external, what about internal, like us in Jamaica? I heard many of us in Jamaica is advocating about how Israel is wicked and what they are doing to Palestinians. I'm not hearing us in Jamaica say the same thing. You're talking about the hegemony.
But you agree that what is going on should be commented on and strongly, though, Faithful.
So you're saying you want to hear Jamaicans speaking out about what's happening in Sudan?
We who call ourselves Pan-Africanism, we who call ourselves Pan-Africa, we're more taken up with what Israel is doing to the Palestinian. Is it that because it's African to kill African that is okay? And
no, man, I don't think.
No,
I think
but
that argument is specious, man.
again, Faithful, we discussed this. So, for example, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has been front of center because the major international news networks have centered that crisis because of who Israel is,
ideology,
and because of the country Israel is and who its friends are.
Absolutely. We call it religious ideology. In Russia is a very permanent member of the United Nations. You have 5 permanent members made up of Russia, United States, China, England, and France. And for the life of you, how could you explain to me a permanent member sending guiding bomb to destroy children at all? The question I want to ask.
That's a different issue you're going to know.
I know that's different, but it all comes to the same evil wickedness that takes in the world. And based on who we like, based on who we love and who we like, we turn a blind eye for one thing and we shine the light on the next thing.
Faithful, we've had this conversation. You're repeating all the points you made at the time.
Yes, but because this one I don't like, and where I'm going now, should not Brazilian president and South Africa who take Israel to the Caribbean, to the Court of Justice, should they not take Russia for the same thing? Is it
should they not take who?
Russia. Putin.
There's an arrest warrant, is my recollection, for the Russian president.
Who take it? Is it because
no, but does it matter? But no, hold on. But does it matter who has taken it?
Yes.
No. Hold on.
Yes,
hold on, Faithful. The atrocities of the Russian regime, Vladimir Putin's regime, has been internationally condemned.
By who?
By most all sane countries in the world.
But the point I'm making, South Africa president.
Yes, I hear that. So what do you? No, you can't finish because I've heard the point. What do you want South Africa to do?
Because they're the one that is the Court of Justice.
So you want them to take Russia as well?
Because they acted on that, maybe somebody else should consider their obligation.
And you also should should remember, Faithful. You also should remember the basis.
It's because of friendship.
No, it's not. No, the basis on which South Africa also moved as it did and felt compelled to do so is because, in their estimation, what is happening in Palestine is tantamount to apartheid.
It's a mirror image of
and their lived experience as a people, with that compel them to do that. But I'm saying to you,
I am saying that it's true. But I am saying to you, is it not that Russia bomb?
But Faithful is a real world.
But Faithful,
it's not the way we would like it all to be. But it's a real world.
You keep saying Russia has bombed the hospitals, and I'm saying to you, there is an arrest warrant for the Russian president that exists. So his atrocities have been noted and an arrest warrant has been issued.
Noted. It has been noted, but noted by who? His friend, back his friend.
Never mind.
So who do you want to note it? Who you want to note it?
The same power that see the corruption that takes place with what Israel is doing to the Palestinians.
Which power? Name the power. Which power?
Did I just name that go South Africa and Brazilian president who call out Israel? Why they don't call it a friend? Because they two are part of Brexit. Is it not a friend thing?
Real world,
but that's what I'm saying to you. You're having the same conversation we had before. That interests align, and that's just how the world order is structured.
Oh, so because I'm your friend, I can kill my enemy and I can kill children in other jurisdictions.
Nobody's saying it's right. We're just saying to you it is the reality of the world we live in.
Real world run like that, Faithful.
Thank you for the call, Faithful. Michael, good evening.
Yes, good evening, Ricardo.
Good evening.
And good evening. Good
evening, sir.
Mr. McKnight?
Mr. McKnight, yes.
Sir.
Franklin McKnight.
Right. I want to speak on I have two questions. Well, a couple questions about the commissioner. But before I go into that, George had a heated discussion with two intellectuals this morning. And one of them, I don't remember her name, made an argument that I, quite frankly, find to be very foolish. She was trying to say that because the man downtown or the business.
We lost him. So sorry about that. 630-937-124 618-8255. Carl, good evening.
Good evening, Carl.
Good evening,
Good
Carl.
evening, Mr. McKnight. Long time, man.
How are you doing, Carl?
Giving thanks, man. The party is
Blessings.
still around.
Blessings.
Yeah. Mr. McKnight, I don't know if you need to wait this morning, but George and Tana have a very good discussion this morning. Them pull teeth left, right, and center. For the
The gentleman who
human
just
wrongs.
called a while ago was talking about that.
Right, for the two human wrongs them. And then couldn't get nothing out of them. That's George waste all in time because the news break over 9 minutes after 8. See, try to see what he could have get out of them. And then wouldn't stand up for integrity at all. Just speak the truth and move on. And tell George go back and bring a tape, come play. So I don't know if then we come tomorrow morning and clarify. And then after that, Mr. McKnight, the head of the Integrity Commission sent George an email to correct something that one of them said. And right away, Mr. McKnight, it left me to say that that body must collect one more salary out of the tax.
Well, first of all, Carl, you're wrong.
Integrity Commission?
You're wrong, Carl. The Integrity Commission didn't send George any specific email or anything. They released a statement to the media.
I will withdraw that then.
Yes.
An email came to George to clarify some part.
They released a statement to the media.
Right, release a statement. Well, George, Ricardo, and Mr. McKnight, same like how that release could have come this morning so quick to clarify something that was said this morning, a few minutes after I break.
No. You're so you're linking the two things. The release was in response to the reporting that had happened in the Gleaner and that happened in Nationwide overnight. So it wasn't specifically to the conversation that was happening on Nationwide this morning. It just happened that we were having the conversation.
Okay, well, see like how even that could have come concerning what happened in a Gleaner then. I could go there so then. The British citizen been campaigning about 6 persons and try to embarrass the Prime Minister. Why something couldn't come out of them for say nothing no go, sir? Or they must hold on British citizens.
That not no go how?
Like how, what the British citizens was campaigning about. And press conference call that the man we born a Spanish town will have one passport for Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine must take himself for clear in name. And only one passport he have. One dege one. He not have two, he have one.
What's the relationship between that and
okay, I come into it now. If you August have that a campaign for over here, when what released yesterday inside the parliament was showing that them have to check all kind of things about the man, statutory things them before it can declare, and it soon come to final. Then could have sent or speak something, say like how then could have said something and release and say, yeah, all of what you've been campaigning about this man, hold on a little.
Yeah.
But that couldn't be the remit of the Integrity Commission, though. You'd have to say they couldn't talk to one of the political parties in that way. They would have to advance the status or information about the status of the investigation or of their attempts to validate the statutory declaration of the Prime Minister. They wouldn't be in their rightful place talking to a political party, is what you're seeming to say.
But I think what I agree with Carl on is the aspect that when the chairman said, for example, that they get all kinds of referrals and some of it turns out to be mischief, I think
Yes,
I think a comment could have been made in that respect.
Mr. McKnight.
But no, don't lose Mr. McKnight's point though. That you're saying that they should have spoken directly to the People's National Party. He's saying that would have been inappropriate, and I agree with that.
But Ricardo, I dem did outer road. I talk about illicit six, and the Prime Minister, the head, the British citizen, was at the head of it. So you could call in a press conference from the Integrity Commission and say, hold on. People of Jamaica, hold on. What is being said, hold on. Please leave it there until I release something about this.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't see what that
Them left the British citizens. Let me tell you something, Ricardo. Let me tell you something. Me don't have to hide my shirt. Everybody knows it's green. So me not run and hide my Ricardo.
Mm-hmm.
You see, sometimes even some of them where you see they on pulpit a preach about Andrew Holness. You got one wedding and it's a person I conduct the wedding, they have something to say. You got one car wash, if they book you up and they know you, what happened to Andrew decoration? Why you can't release? You got one mechanic, everybody are asking. I'm not afraid to tell you, do you hear me that defend party?
Mm-hmm.
I was one of them who felt it. It was lashing us. We couldn't stand up to them with it. Everywhere you go, everybody asks you. You go in a supermarket, and anybody knows you're on the green side. And then, as they see you, I'm to Andrew decoration. Why you can't release? So them are come to you. And just in your ears with it. What we take on back off a lot of them other day, is when the British citizen tell we say, him in 2 foot out of England, and when we check it out, 3/4 him in England. And at that we did have to have a pushback on them. But
here is what I want to say, Carl. Having received what the chairman said yesterday, that which I interpret to mean any frivolous referral that they get, once they looked into it, it must be included in the report. I think that needs to be amended.
Okay.
Because that's clearly nonsense. Especially in a situation where me might not like bugs. And me say, you know what? Me know say bugs need to file him declaration. And me just call the commission and just make up anything.
Yeah.
And the moment they open an investigation into bugs and then they find out there was nothing there and they drop it, it's still mentioned in the report. I think that's problematic.
So perhaps
the damage is already done. Absolutely, Mr. McKnight. The damage is done. So I think, Carl, that the lawmaker should amend the legislation to remove that requirement. We don't need to know when you've opened an investigation. What we need to know is when you have completed it, what you investigated, and what was the outcome. That's all we need to know.
Ricardo?
Yes.
You know, it's the time I run out of other people. Ricardo?
Mm-hmm.
No, Mr. McKnight. So long as me have to ask you this question. Can we come here and get away? Mr. McKnight, would you like to be into a country, Mr. McKnight, where a British citizen will lead you, Mr. McKnight? Answer me.
If I would like to be in a country where a British citizen is leading me,
citizen will lead you.
I don't have anything against British citizens, but if I live in Jamaica,
ask that way, Mr. McKnight. I'm not a fool,
man.
He's answering, Carl. He's answering. Let him answer.
No, Carl. I live in Jamaica.
Right.
Yeah. And I expect a Jamaican citizen to lead me.
Right.
And I've already expressed my view that is what I expect.
Right.
But I don't have anything against British citizens.
I did not ask if you have anything against British citizens, Mr. McKnight. Don't treat me like that. I'm not a fool, Mr. McKnight. I did not ask
man, come on, Carl.
Mr. McKnight.
Mr. McKnight has answered you, Carl. We have to go now. Have a good evening, sir.
Carl, you mustn't do that because I don't consider you a fool and would not. So don't do that.
Omalo, good evening.
Good evening, Ricardo. Good evening, Mr. McKnight.
Good evening, Omalo. Long time.
Let me ask a question. Is the Integrity Commission acting within the law?
Which law? As in they're enabling legislation?
Whatever law they're supposed to act within.
Yes, they say they are. That's their interpretation of their statute.
And that's what they say they are.
have anybody come out that write the laws or anything, any lawyer or anything saying they are not acting within the law?
What has been said by various legislators who passed the law and who are themselves lawyers is that they believe the interpretation being given by the Integrity Commission to the Act is either too strict or too restrictive, and that was not the intent.
So the legislators have the opportunity to go back to Parliament.
Absolutely, that I agree with you. Yes.
Make it clear.
Absolutely.
Or if they have any problem with the Integrity Commission carrying out its duty, if they are not within the scope of the law, take it to the court.
And the Integrity Commission has said that they have made, well, not just have said that, they have made suggestions for amendment.
Right.
That could broaden their view.
In our constitutional government, we have ways to deal with the Integrity Commission.
Yes, it's a commission of Parliament. It's answerable to the Parliament.
Yeah. But it just seems, it doesn't even seem good for the country to hear people talk about the Integrity Commission as if the Integrity Commission write the law that they are abiding to, and they are doing things out of the scope of the law.
Mm. So you're saying the parliamentarian should step up and change the law if they are uncomfortable with it?
We are doing worse damage to the Integrity Commission people, what you call them, their reputation, more than they are doing to any other thing. If the politicians them write the legislation like this, and they are carrying it out, and the politicians say, no, you're not carrying it out the way it's supposed to, it is written. Let's go to court and let the court interpret it. But we cannot be doing what we are doing. And in the first place, the Integrity Commission law was never put in place to deal with corruption in Jamaica.
Say again?
Say that again.
The laws, the way they are written, and the way how the workload that's what it is given to the Integrity Commission. It is just something a perception of we are dealing with corruption. This is not nothing to deal with corruption. This is not how you deal with corruption. You can't tell the police, homicide division, to start investigate pickpockets and housebreaking. That is too much of a heavy workload on their.
Honestly, I'm not sure I'm following you. Omalo.
What is it that you're not following?
I'm not following what you are saying to be the work. Are you criticizing the work? Load, the breadth and depth of what they have to. Hold on a second, man. You can answer. You're not doing here. I'm just asking you whether you are criticizing the workload, the breadth and depth of what they have to do, and what are you criticizing?
That is what I'm criticizing.
Oh, the depth and breadth of what they have to do.
I use the analogy of you can't use the homicide that are investigating homicide in a country such as Jamaica to start investigate pickpockets. The workload would take them away from homicide. The act needs to be written in ways we directly focus on those who are in control of the purse of the country.
So hold on, let's thrash that out a little bit, because you say those who are directly in control of the purse of the country. You mean the parliamentarians, I imagine?
Parliamentarian, permanent secretaries, people who give contracts and deal with contracts and deal with these type of things.
Okay,
not a principal.
But that extent, well, no, there are many ways a principal can engage in corrupt activities. Many ways.
Then you use the MOCA to investigate them, and after MOCA investigate them, you charge them and you bring them to court.
Okay, so you want the Integrity Commission then to become something of a specialist body that targets...
That's what Integrity Commission is supposed to be, carrying integrity to the nation governance.
Yes, and public officials, believe it or not, include the heads of our educational institutions.
But you see, when you hold certain, certain heads of our institution, certain heads, not just a 1,000 had people, not this broad brush over everything. When you do a broad brush of this, what you're doing, you're killing the work before the thing starts. And you know that you're not going to starve it in ways to deal with all of these filings.
I don't disagree with you that it perhaps could be a little bit more targeted. I don't disagree with that. I think in principle that argument makes sense. And it's part of why they've now had to increase the threshold in terms of who needs to file with the Integrity Commission. So I have a problem in principle with that argument. But I just don't want us to believe that
but
because...
the corruption is widespread.
Right. As I'm saying. Yes, I don't want us to believe...
We have MOCA, we have FID, we have all different type of other investigating bodies.
Yeah, as long as we don't believe that because you're not a permanent secretary or a politician or a judge or one of those high offices.
Office and all. We should create even an ethics to look into ethics committee or commission to look into judges and all of these things. These people don't have to be going to.
So you'd want a more layered approach to fighting corruption. Okay, I don't think that's. I don't have a problem with that.
We will definitely get results.
So, for example, I know in the United States, each federal agency has an inspector general, whose responsibility is to investigate matters that arise in that particular agency. Mm-hmm. So you'd have an overarching body responsibly. It's more on an agency. I can take that point. Let's
be real. There is no way this Integrity Commission can carry out this work. And you are doing your certificate over 3 years. You're doing things, and it is out in the public. It is not justification to the politicians, and it is not justification to the Integrity Commission. We have to do something about it. It is not just to blame the Integrity Commission, but it is also to say it, and not to say the politicians are doing wrong. But we have to fix how the system operates in order to get the type of result we want.
Omalo, earlier in the conversation, we were talking about whether the fact that this is a young organization, this is making baby steps, whether that also is part of the reason for the way, the unease that people feel about it, and whether there could be a different sense of direction. Even what you are suggesting about its scope and the scope of its work and so forth. Maybe those things will become clearer as it goes on. Maybe it will be seen to be very inefficient as it goes on. But it's early days yet. It's a very serious issue we know that what corruption does to the nation is a very serious issue that it is contemplating and dealing with in a country which is riven with corruption.
You know what, Mr. McKnight? Mr. McKnight, we don't have to create the wheel, Mr. McKnight. There are countries in this world where when they rate them on the corruption index, where they are rated, we could adopt those legislation, just like how we adapt financial legislation from other places and put it here in Jamaica, and having it work and getting the results from it at this moment and cheering on our economic success and all of these things. We could adapt corruption, anti-corruption agency around the world procedure and put it here.
Yeah. But the Integrity Commission, the Integrity Commission, though, is modeled. They remember they went through a process, in modeling it, So it's not some brand new invention that we came up with. It was modeled off other institutions
and then even updated it from the Contractor General's office.
Absolutely.
Anytime you want to kill a body, this is how you structure it, man.
All right, Omalo.
Nowhere. Yeah.
Thanks for the call. Yeah, man.
All right.
Fact checker. Good evening.
Yes, okay, Ricardo, and of course Franklin, the veteran journalist.
Yes,
gentlemen, here we tend to criticize politicians for errors or misdemeanor at the Integrity Commission. Also, but we also need to criticize the journalists sometimes when they get it wrong. Now, Franklin, you know that there is facts and there's interpretation, we may call it editorializing. If you get a report and you read it, and the people at the Integrity Commission, even though they may not communicate effectively, but they have different periods reporting on. Why should a reporter or say the gleaner, which Franklin was the editor of at one point, or Nationwide, Mr. George Davis, why would you draw a conclusion when it was not stated in the report? You should leave that out for your commentary. People who understand commentary know that you can draw a conclusion and get away with it. But in a news report, you need to state just the bare facts. It's a very boring exercise, doing news,
Yeah, I agree. But what?
Just state the facts.
So what?
Nothing more.
What was the fact that you think the Glean or Nationwide did not state?
No, it's not the fact that it's what they missed. It was not stated that the numbers were reduced from 6 to 2. That was never stated anywhere.
No, but if you read, but it's a logical inference, my brother.
Frankly, you answer this one. Logical inference is not fact. Franklin?
Yeah, man, I'm listening to you. I accept that logical inference is not fact.
Yes, and I'm saying no. So we reported what was in the document. That last year it was 6. This year it's 2. That's it. That's what we reported.
And therefore, the news
in fact, Nationwide's report went as far as to say it is not clear what became of the other 4. That's what we said.
Well, what I'm picking up from both organizations, especially Nationwide, is that it has been reduced from 6 to 2. To 2.
Yes, because what was reported last year was 6. This year we're seeing 2. Yes, so year on year, there was a change in the numbers.
Yes, that is clear that there was a change in the numbers, but the change was not from 6 to 2, but 6 to 8.
No, but that would have been wrong as well. So even if we'd attempted to infer that would have been wrong based on what the Integrity Commission has now told us. Because there was nothing in the report that said 8.
Right,
what we saw was 2.
They clarified and said it was.
Yes, and having clarified, now that they've clarified it, we've now reported it as they say it is.
Yes, but you need not defend it because I'm just saying.
We didn't what?
I say you need not defend it.
Nobody has defended it. We have not defended it. The moment the release was issued, George read it live, Turner read it live on air. The very moment we got it. I think they took a break because I was listening. They took a break and then they read it immediately.
I'm not. I heard the release. I'm just saying that the defense was this: that they should have stated in. They should have made it clearer.
Yes. I think that's a fair comment. Yes.
Which I agree with.
Yes.
But the fact that it wasn't made clearer, if the people are reporting on 2 different periods, and they fail to communicate effectively, but there were 2 different periods. What happened last year and what happened this year? So there was an error.
I'm not sure I'm understanding. What is your criticism? What's your criticism?
Journalists know what I'm saying. I stated my criticism from the beginning, that we criticize politicians, we criticize the Integrity Commission. When our colleagues in the media make mistakes, we must also criticize them too because we are human.
That's what I'm asking you. So we're open to the criticism. I'm asking you, what is your criticism? I'm not sure I'm following it.
What is the criticism? I'm just saying they should have made it very, very clear that the issue was not could have been communicated better. It was said that the issue could have been communicated better, which I agree with.
Yes.
But at the same time, you have to take blame for the inferences and the interpretation you draw because when you're doing news, as I know, you stick to the facts and not interpretation. You leave that for editorial.
No, but my brother.
You leave it for editorializing.
My brother, when you say we should take responsibility, as I said to you, we reported what we saw. And we told the listeners that last year it was 6. This year we're seeing 2.
And you told me earlier that you draw an inference. And I said to Franklin, Franklin.
Yes, no. The inference wasn't in the news. No. Oh, no, the inference wasn't in the news, We had an extensive discussion on this program yesterday, myself, Cliff, and Siobhan. And we had a long conversation there. We were asking questions, and there were inferences drawn there, yes. But in our reporting, the actual news report, it was clearly said that it is not clear what became of the other 4.
All right. Could you do the public a favor then? Either today or tomorrow, or play the news report, 7 a.m. this morning, 7 o'clock. That full report, and listen to it again.
What did that report say? I didn't hear it this morning.
I can't tell you all the details, but my impression was it was saying that it was reduced from 6 to 2. So,
my brother, but that
people under investigation.
But my brother, that's what the document plainly says. Meaning, last year it was 6, this year it was 2. If you look at that's a reduction.
The document, the document said last year it was 6 and this year it was 2.
Last year's document said 6, this year's document says 2.
And I am only asking that since we don't have the memory of an elephant, so just replay the thing and then let the pieces fall where they may. What about that?
Okay, I mean, I don't have the report with me right here, and I'm not sure what pieces need to fall where they may. I'm still trying to understand the basis of your criticism, you know. You're saying that we shouldn't have referenced the other 6?
No.
Or 4?
All I'm saying, just play the report.
To what end? To what end do you want me to play it?
So you can clarify for yourself.
I don't need to clarify anything. I am clear on what happened. You have come here to criticize us. I'm asking you to lay out the criticism. You've not done so. You've simply said there was editorializing. I'm asking you in what way. You have not answered that. I know you're asking me to play something to assist your argument that you came here with.
No, to assist the fact. I have answered.
What fact? Which
answered.
fact? Which fact do you want to assist?
I have answered. You said you drew inference.
Yes, in the editorial comments that were made, yes.
I'm talking about the news, my friend.
Then tell me what the inference was in the news. No, you're telling me that there was an inference in the news. What was it?
The inference in the news was that the number was reduced. So there were 6 last year, and it was reduced from 6 to 2. And I'm just asking you to replay.
All right, so I don't have the report, and you're saying there was an inference. The report said that. I'm actually looking for it. I'm trying to find it. I don't know if it was posted. Was it posted, or it might not have been posted because of the subsequent clarification that came. But you're saying that's what it said.
My substantive point is that we all make errors, so we need not kill the Integrity Commission or our politician or even the journalists as a matter of fact.
But nobody's killing them for anybody error, you know. As I said to you, the moment the clarification came,
yes.
I heard Tana, she read it in full. The moment it came, there was no hesitation, there was no defending it, there was no obfuscation. The clarification was read immediately. And I think it was reported at 12 o'clock as well.
All right, we disagree, sir. I don't want to hold up no more time until you read the report, until the thing is thoroughly checked. Not only for my purpose, but also your purpose and the general public.
What I can say to the general public...
Ricardo is in the newsroom, so this is why I didn't participate. He knows what is happening on that side. He has seen it. He is aware of it. I didn't even hear the report.
What I can say to the general public, as a matter of fact, is that based on the clarification provided by the Integrity Commission, an aggregate of 8 parliamentarians remain under investigation or are under investigation for illicit enrichment. At least 8. Because based on another part of the report that goes back to 2018, it could be as much as 13. So at least 8.
Oh, really? Oh, there's another part that
Yes,
suggests...
because it said that there were 13 referrals between 2018 and 2024. It has not clarified what became of those referrals. So we don't know if those actually exist, if those are live.
Okay, gentlemen, it was nice talking to you.
All right, my brother.
I think you did your best. Bye-bye. Take care.
We don't know, Mr. McKnight, if those are live referrals. We don't know. So it could be open.
Or if they were dismissed.
Or if they were dismissed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So based on that, it could be up to 13. But at minimum 8, I think, is a fair.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah? All right. Ooh, all right. My first rodeo with you, Mr. McKnight, was rough. But I enjoyed it though.
But you are cool because and it's important that you are able on the basis of being in the newsroom or associated with the newsroom at least to be able to explain what happened. And I just did not hear the report this morning either. I just did not.
Yeah, I didn't hear what was reported at 7. What I did hear, because I was listening to the discussion segment, I heard the conversation between George and Tonna and Daniel and Janet Calder. And there was the issue raised by Janet Calder. There was a difference of interpretation as to what the actual document meant. And I think after 8 o'clock is when they got the clarification from the Integrity Commission. They read it. And then we subsequently reported the updated thing from the Commission. Yeah. All right. Dana Davy, thank you. Andrew Anderson, thank you. Carl Powell.
Bugs is his name, man.
Bugs.
All right, Bugs.
All right. My colleagues in the newsroom. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
I'm Franklin McKnight.
Good night.